honestly spend our entire session on John chapter 1, verse 1. But let me give you a quick overview. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. We can easily simply tell you, just by reading the prologue of John, that the Word is Jesus, as we see in John 1:14, and the Word became flesh. But it says here, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So the Word is with someone called God, and the Word was God. So specifically, if we're going to say, well, if Jesus, find me a passage that says Jesus is God, here it is. And the Word was God. But some of our friends, whether they're Muslim or Jehovah's Witnesses or others, try to argue against that from the English text.
Right.
But
Now, can I interject real quick? Because
go
you just
ahead.
mentioned Jehovah's Witness. I always hear various apologists say that when you're talking to a Jehovah's Witness and you're trying to demonstrate the deity of Christ, don't go to John 1:1
Mm.
because they're so familiar. Would you agree with that? Or you can kind of see where they're coming from, but you still see value in going to this text? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I understand that a lot of people are hesitant to go to this passage because the Jehovah's Witnesses love to try to argue from this passage.
Mhm.
But if you understand, just like have a basic understanding of the Greek language,
Mhm.
um, you have nothing to be afraid of. Because what you can actually do here is show that when the Jehovah's Witness tries to argue particular arguments from this passage, that if they were consistent, they would shoot themselves in the foot, metaphorically.
Mm.
So let's actually demonstrate that. Let's split John chapter 1 into, well, John chapter 1 verse 1 into three parts,
Okay.
three phrases. The first one, in the beginning was the word, in arche ein halagos. I want to point something out here with the word ein. The word ein here is the imperfect active indicative form of I, me, to be or to exist. So basically it's saying in the beginning, which is harking back to Genesis, even as far back as you can place the beginning of time,
Mm.
the word already was in existence. So this already argues against the Jehovah's Witness to say that Jesus was eternal. He was not the first created. Instead, he's eternal. He comes before the creation. John 1:1b, kai halagos ein pros ton theon. The term pros here is is very good because the genitive plus the accusative, which means the term theon here, ton theon, is in the accusative case, which means that it's the direct object of the phrase. So basically, what this means is that the word is with, or as many scholars have noted, face to face with,
Mm.
in a relationship with, and in communion with somebody else who is called God. And then we get to John 1:1c, which is basically um the main point of conflict between many who deny the deity of Christ. Kai theos ein halagos. Now, many, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, try to say that because the word theos here does not have the definite article here, like ton does here, or halagos does here, or here in John 1:1c, that it means that the word is a god,
Right.
or something like that. But number one, if you're going to argue that, then you're going to have to argue that John is a polytheist, which, as we know, John is a monotheistic Jew. He's not that.
Right.
But you're also forgetting a crucial Greek rule that you would know in Greek 3, which is called Caldwell's rule, which is basically arguing that because the word theos here, or any other word, is a anarthrous preverbal predicate nominative. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's break that phrase
You
down.
got to break that down because people think you'd be speaking in tongues, bro. So.
I'm a Presbyterian, not a Pentecostal.
Oh yeah. I couldn't tell with the. Go for it, man.
But anarthrous, it means that it just doesn't have the definite article.
Hmm.
Preverbal, it comes before the verb in the sentence. Hear the word ein. Predicate, which means that when it's translated, it goes to the end of the sentence, like it is here in John chapter 1, verse 1. and it's the predicate nominative. It's in the nominative case. It's describing how it fits within the sentence. And so we have a similar phrase or a similar construction in First John, where it says, "He who does not love does not know God, because God is love." The direct translation would be, "And love is God." But the term "love" there does not have the definite article. And
Mm.
so what it's doing is that it is describing the nature of God. God is not a love. God is, as to his nature, love. And so we see here in John 1:1, kai theos and halagos, that the word is, as to his nature, deity. It's explicitly stating that the word is not the same person as the Father,
Mm.
but has the same nature as him. Many scholars like Martin Luther and even Warner Wallace have noticed that this is the only way where John could have communicated that Jesus was God, but not the same person as the Father. And
Yeah.
Martin Luther notes that in this phrase, he avoids both modalism and Arianism in one simple phrase. We then see in John chapter 1, verse 2, "He was in the beginning with God." Again, a repetition of John chapter 1, verse 1. And then verse 3, "All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." Here, the term is dia, which means, with the accusative, or the genitive, I mean, through or by means of. Dia plus the genitive in Greek means that he is the personal means, the personal agent of creation. We find this construction used not only here in John chapter 1, but also in Hebrews chapter 1 and Colossians 1:15 and 16 and 17, where Jesus is the personal agent of creation. We see in the Old Testament that Yahweh says that he alone stretched out the heavens and formed the world by himself. So if Jesus is active in creation, he by necessity must be Yahweh
Mm.
alongside the Father, as scripture notes.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So we shouldn't be afraid to go into John 1:1, and you